Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It is me, Mysterious Cameraman, and today I am reviewing Spider-Man Back to Basics. So, the film came out, I think, 24 hours ago by the time I'm recording this. I'll admit, I have thoughts on this fan film. I have a lot to say. I have reviewed, I think, Power and Responsibility, Dead No More, and I've seen everything that Spider-Man universe has put out. I just haven't reviewed all of it. Like, I reviewed Power Man and Iron Fist. At this point, I don't even know what's included in the universe or not. Like, I didn't review Superior Spider-Man Log Date 1. I just didn't get up to that. I saw Wrath of Wolverine. I didn't review that. I just didn't get up to it. So, I've seen everything up to this point. I just haven't reviewed it all. So, I know the whole plot. I'll just make a 20-second review of Wrath of Wolverine. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't think it was, like... I thought it was pretty good. I think it worked for being that short film. And I really liked it. It just wasn't my favorite. Wolverine isn't, like, my favorite character. So it just wasn't... It was good. It just wasn't great. And it set up this very well. Okay, now that I'm done talking about that, let's talk about the film. But before we get into it, if you haven't already seen my own fan film, Captain America: The Taskmaster Trials, every trailer for Captain America: The Taskmaster Trials is on my channel, as well as the full fan film. So please check it out. Yeah, besides that, let's get into it. I thought this fan film was pretty good. It's long. It's another hour and 25-minute fan film from this shared universe. So it was, Dead No More. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how these tied. I think they only tie together when it comes to Spectacular Spider-Verse. Because we saw the tease with Superior Spider-Man in this. So I think that was the tease. And then the next thing is really the crossover, which I'm so excited for. I did a video talking about the crossover 2 months ago, I think, by this point. I'm very excited for it. I don't have so much to say about it, necessarily. Like, there isn't so much to say at this point, but I think as it gets closer, it's going to be a very big event. Let's talk about this film. I liked it, but I think this film didn't know what it wanted to be. This film, in an hour and 25 minutes, I think does too much. I think it opened... I did not like the film until, like, the 40-minute mark. When it started with Gwen and Peter at Central Park, and they went to find the Osborn... When they were right before the car scene and they found Wolverine and they had that whole fight and got Connors. Right before that walk in Central Park, that's when I started liking it. Everything prior, I felt like was too, like... The Spider-Man quip just didn't work for me. Like, I feel like every other scene was, like, a licensed song on top of some comedy. Like, the Mysterio scene I get. I think the Mysterio scene works. Is it my favorite? No. But I think it works for what it does. And then if we go out of the Mysterio scene, there's another scene of him shrinking the suit. I think it works to get rid of the suit. But I don't think it's annoying. Like, how it has to be that whole comedy. Like, oh yeah, he smells. Why does it have to become a whole comedy laugh track? I just didn't get. I feel like that was a very interesting move. Then he tries to deal with mutant injustice. I thought that is such a brilliant theme that I have always wanted to see tackled well. I like it in X-Men. I don't love it in X-Men. I feel like they tell a pretty good story in this. I just feel like it's too diluted for it to work. I like the idea of Lizard being a scapegoat made by the Goblin, but we don't get much of that. I feel like it only starts to get to that point with, like, 20 minutes left in the film. And I do like Daredevil in this. I think Daredevil's pretty cool. But I feel like this film really wants to do so much, and it doesn't work in that runtime. Like, we only get 2 scenes with the Green Goblin. And I feel like if you want Green Goblin to matter, he shouldn't be in 2 scenes. Like, he's the main villain, and he's in 2 scenes. The Lizard's in more scenes than the Green Goblin. Actually, no, he isn't, but the Lizard is a huge part of the story, and the Goblin's, like, there, but if you remove the Goblin from the story and you put anyone else in that position, that won't change it. Like, I think the idea of having the Lizard be scapegoat is cool. I think that in an hour and 25 minutes, when the first chunk of it doesn't work, like, when the first chunk of it is, like, I think Mutant Injustice is cool, and it's very good, But then why is the villain also Green Goblin? I feel like they could have had one film be about mutant injustice and one film about the Green Goblin. And I think if they really wanted to tell a good Green Goblin story, they shouldn't have had Green Goblin literally in 2 scenes. I feel like I met the character, and then he had a very short fight scene. And that was all we got from him. Like, I think this film really wanted to do stuff with mutant injustice, and really wanted to do stuff with the Green Goblin, and really wanted to do stuff with Daredevil, and really wanted to do stuff with Wolverine. And I think everything just ran into each other, and it didn't all stick. I think Daredevil works in this. I think they tie the lawyer stuff in well. I think they tie Wolverine in well. I think I do like how they kind of fight each other a lot. I think it works. I think the mutant injustice plot is actually pretty good in this. I just don't like that the Green Goblin isn't such a big villain. He shows up, I think, 3/4 through the film the first time. We don't get much of him. And then he shows up again at the end of the film. And we don't get anything of him in between. Like, I just don't. I feel like if they really wanted to make the Green Goblin the big villain, they should have done more with him. And I know that they might do the third film, have like Goblin Jr. be the main villain. And I think if their goal was like have not do 2 goblins in a row, so they did a small goblin here and a massive goblin in the next one, fine. But this film on its own, I just don't think stuck the landing. I think it begun too comedic. Like, yes, Peter was sad over Gwen's death. I get that. Not Gwen's breakup, but I feel like the film wanted to turn it into like a comedy sort of, until the story starts to get interesting, and I just didn't love that. I also feel like they cut to black too often. Like, I think the only fight scenes are the ones with Wolverine. Like, whenever they couldn't film something, you just cut it to black. They didn't even show the fight scene. They just cut to black. Like, they were about to fight Lizard, cut to black. Helicopter's about to crash, cut to black. There's just so many times that I feel like we could have had an interesting story, and they just cut to black. Like, if the whole issue is that we are not getting to know these characters so well, then why aren't you showing these characters fight more? Why are you, like, making it so, like, why are you, like, shortening the runtime in a sense? Like, if you really want, like, why would we care about the Lizard if we're not even seeing the Lizard fight Spider-Man? Because all we hear is the noises on a black screen. And for me, that just didn't work. And I think that first part just didn't work for me, and I started getting really good with the mutant injustice part, and then just kind of fell apart when Green Goblin, who was said to be this amazing villain for this, was in like 2 scenes. And I just don't feel like we even got enough Norman Osborn in this for it to work. There was a very big cast, and I feel like not every character was done well. I think Wolverine was done well. I think Daredevil, I think Gwen and Peter were done well. I think Harry was fine. But I feel like some of those, like Norman was very important. We didn't see much of him. And I feel like this film really wanted to tell so many stories, but didn't want to use a longer runtime. Like, Power and Responsibility is 2 hours. And that told a very ambitious story. This is more of an ambitious story, and it's telling it in less time. And I feel like it's not like they can't do it. We've seen them make a 2-hour fan film before. But I just feel like they should have. I feel like it really would have worked for this story. I think if they added that extra 30 minutes, we could get a lot more with Green Goblin. We could have gotten a lot more with Mutant Injustice. And then it would have been flushed out way more. So if they wanted to do that comedy part, they could have done that at the start. And then made the story more serious. Like, they did what like an MCU movie would do. Start funny. Except they don't have the runtime to do that. Like, I think that's just kind of their interpretation of Peter, and I just don't love that. Like, that just didn't work for me. But a lot did work. I loved Wolverine in this. And the Mutant Injustice plot, I know I'm saying it didn't work so well for me, but I think from what we got of it, it was insane. I think they did so well with not just showing us that mutants were being, like, prejudiced against. I'm really tired right now. I can't use the right terminology. But they also had, like, holy God. Was that Beast? Yeah, we had Beast in there, I think. Like, they showed a lot of these mutants. We've seen the mutants in Wrath of the Wolverine. We know that these mutants are being discriminated against, and we're also getting a fun one with Wolverine. And we're getting to see these mutants, and we actually care that the mutants are being discriminated against. And they tell it very well. They show the people, they show things like MJ and Eddie Brock, who do nothing for the story, but, well, they do stuff for the story, but, like, they help so much with it. They give a lot of stuff, like, they are people who show how just a normal person's reacting to it. We have the president, the person running for president, showing how he's reacting to it. We see Foggy Nelson and Daredevil working together, seeing how people are reacting to it through, like, the justice system. Like, I feel like they did that plot so well. I think they did all that in such an interesting way that it makes us care about the mutants. And I think that works for a Spider-Man story. I just wish there was then a mutant villain, or a villain who was prejudiced against the mutants that showed that. Like, yeah, Osborn was building the mutant robots that was mentioned once, but, like, that isn't a reason for us to hate the Goblin. We have no reason to hate the Goblin right now, besides the fact that he's doing bad stuff. But I thought Otto in this was really good. I liked the idea of Lizard being a scapegoat. It wasn't my favorite idea, but I think it really worked. And I think whenever that mutant injustice plot was shown, I think it made it better because I think they did that idea so well. I just feel like there was a lot that just personally didn't work for me. I bet there are people who really like that funny comedy part at the start and thought that made the film better. That just didn't work for me, and I feel like if they wanted to tell a good mutant, like, injustice plot, they should have had a villain that really connected to the mutants. And it felt a lot like a mystery to find out who the Goblin was, and then it was like, bam, 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 now we have to kill the Goblin. And I think it would have been really interesting even if they wanted the Goblin to still be the villain, to see a bit more of the Goblin, and for the Spider-Man to really hate him. Like, for Spider-Man to have a villain, to not like the Goblin. And I think another reason is just that I liked Power and Responsibility a lot. I was very positive about that. I think they used their runtime so well. And they had so many villains, and I cared about them. Like, I loved what they did with the first one, and I feel like this kind of feels like they had so many ideas, and they just didn't do it so well. And they had really good build-up to it. And I really hope that they can nail the Spectacular Spider-Verse. I think they have a lot of so many people and so many good people working on it that they'll be able to nail it. I just feel like this fan film just didn't work for me. I feel like it had so many ideas it wanted to go for, and instead of saying, let's do it in 3 films and splitting it in half, they wanted everything in 1 film. And I think it made it a bit of a mess. But I still enjoyed it. I still really liked it overall, and even though I have a lot of, like, nitpicks with it, I overall thought it was really good. I overall actually really loved watching this fan film, and it was really entertaining. Let's go to the 6 points. Sorry. Directing. Thought this was directed really well. I thought there was a lot of really interesting shots. Also costuming in this. There was a lot of good costumes. Editing was pretty good. I think the editing in this is pretty good. I think the cut to blacks would fall into editing, and I just didn't think that was good. I think if they want to show a fight scene happening, they should show it happening. Like, that's like they're robbing the audience of it. Acting in this was very good. Thought all the performances were good. I don't think there's a single performance I disliked in this. I think everyone felt like they could play their characters very well. Yeah. Story I just went in so depth about. I don't think I can really go back to that. Choreography. Again, we didn't see so much choreography, but when we saw it, it was pretty good. And then music was very good. There were times, I think the music was good when it was like the Daredevil theme kicking on that fight scene. That wasn't, I like rewatched that part like twice or 3 times because that was really good. But then I feel like there were just too many licensed songs. Just, it didn't work for me. It worked for me in Power Man and Iron Fist. And there it worked. Didn't work here for me. But I still enjoyed this fan film. in my opinion, this is a step down from Power and Responsibility. And I feel like if we look at that whole universe, I feel like it's a step down from Power and Responsibility and No More. I think this had the potential to be up there. I just think they had so many good ideas and they didn't want to give it more runtime or even split it into two films of this length. I think they had so many great ideas. And, well, I know they did because I saw them portray them. I just think they didn't have enough time to show that story. And I think even if they just added 20 minutes, that could fix so many of the things I'm saying right now. And I know it's difficult too. I know it's very difficult too, but I feel like it's too rushed and it's too much. However, I think if you can pinpoint, there's a lot to like in this. There's a lot to enjoy in this, and there's so much in it that, like, if you're a huge Wolverine fan, you're going to like this. If you're a Daredevil fan, you're going to like this. If you're a Goblin fan, you're going to like this. If you're a Gwen Stacy fan, you're going to like this. There's so many sections. I think you can really enjoy this film. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I know this review was very negative. There was a lot that I feel like I didn't love in this, but I feel like it's going to grow on me as time goes on. I think I'm going to look back on it since, like, okay, that was actually not that bad. But I think coming right out of it, I just don't think it did everything I wanted it to do. And I think it could have done things better that would have made me enjoy it more. Alrighty, that is it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already seen my own fan film, Captain America the Taskmaster Trials, that's on my channel now. And besides that, thank you so much for watching this video. See you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.